Welcome to Galactic Initiative. I'm your host, Jeff. This video is a celebration of outstanding writing, directing, and acting in Star Wars during the Disney era. Superlative entertainment is possible when story supplants agenda, when lore is respected, and when talented people are hired and empowered. My hope for Star Wars was, is, and always will be quality. I've criticized Disney, Lucasfilm, Kathleen Kennedy, and Dave Filoni for the poor quality of recent Star Wars projects, and setting priorities other than quality, such as identity politics. However, when they deliver, I tip my cap and, with all fans, find common ground. So, I offer my favorite Star Wars scenes of the Disney era. The following pulled me into the stories, validated the characters involved, and established or heightened the conflicts. I can't show the scenes in their entirety, but I'll provide clips and talk about them. You'll find information in the description to help you locate times within episodes and films.
You've been very busy.
2 minutes dead, sir. That's not worth staying up for, then I'm not worthy of the uniform.
Have you modified your uniform?
Perhaps slightly. Pockets piping, some light tailoring.
The opening episode of Andor presented an overzealous, self-righteous middle manager named Karn. In advance, I didn't know Cyril would be a main character, but through effective writing, his first scene planted all the necessary seeds. I'd intentionally avoided access media coverage that would have given away key details before the premiere. I know for many, Chief Hyne's office doesn't compare to Aldhani and Narkina 5, but a scene mustn't be histrionic or action-packed to be good.
This case appears to bear all the hallmarks of what I like to describe as regrettable misadventure. 2 dedicated Primor employees caught in the sad orbit of heroic calamity. I want you to conjure a suitable accident. And let's make sure it's on the far side of the plaza. Let's get it outside the leisure zone.
But they were murdered.
No, they were killed in a fight.
After watching the first exchange between Cyril and his boss, I thought, wow, this series will be different. On the heels of Kenobi, Andor treated me, the viewer, as if I'd graduated from preschool, which was a refreshing change. For the most part, D+ series lack wit, subtlety, and subtext. I found those strengths in Andor, particularly here.
They're in a brothel, which we're not supposed to have, the expensive one, which they shouldn't be able to afford, a drinking Rivnog, which we're not supposed to allow. They clearly harassed a human with dark features and chose the wrong person to annoy.
Chief Hyne stole the spotlight thanks to an excellent performance by veteran Rupert Vansittart. To be fair, his purpose was exposition, so he had more to say than Cyril. The knowledgeable yet disengaged, keep your head down administrator at the end of an undistinguished career was expertly conveyed by Vansittart. The chief's utilitarian office expanded the down and out, edge of nowhere setting that prior scenes introduced.
I suspect they died rushing to aid someone in distress. Nothing too heroic, we don't need a parade. They died being helpful. Something sad but inspiring in a mundane sort of way.
The first-rate dialogue was enhanced by excellent performances. Though Cyril played off Chief Hyne, Kyle Soller established the maddeningly dutiful, humorless, and ego-driven sincerity that came to define his character. In a natural way, the audience learned about Cyril, the Sector, and the relationship between Preox Morlana and the Empire. I still laugh at Hyne's question about Cyril's uniform.
I am on my way this very morning to an Imperial Regional Command review, where I'll be asked to make a report about our crime rates. And the goal of that speech, should you ever be asked to deliver it, is brevity.
This scene is worthy of sci-fi classics like Alien and Blade Runner. It faithfully recreated Lucas's lived-in galaxy. Planning and execution elevated the prosaic discourse. You may prefer bigger, bolder scenes, but in Chief Hyne's office, I acknowledge a potentially insipid bit of exposition that became an engrossing, nuanced colloquy. Cyril's half-cocked investigation that forced Cassian Andor to join Luthen Rael and caused the Empire's occupation of Ferrix began at this moment.
Minimizing the time the Empire spends thinking about Preox Morlana benefits our superiors and, by extension, everyone here at the Primor Security Inspection Team, which at the moment includes you.
Before we continue the countdown, I want to tell you about JB's Toy Trunk. My friend JB is the hardest working man in toys. From hunting to unboxing, he covers everything. Star Wars, Marvel, DC, TMNT, you name it. Check out JB's Toy Trunk. I placed a link in the description.
You lied to me.
You're in shock.
You went up there to kill my father.
You don't know what you're talking about.
Diego Luna and Felicity Jones absolutely nailed this scene. The Rebel Alliance targeted Jyn Erso's father, Galen, for facilitating the Death Star's construction. Cassian Andor had an order to kill, but ultimately ignored it. After Galen died in a premature Rebel strike, Jyn blamed Cassian. The confrontation that followed was gripping.
You lied about why we came here, and you lied about why you went up alone.
I had every chance to pull the trigger. But did I? Did I?
You might as well have. My father was living proof, and you put him at risk. That's what Alliance bombs that killed him.
Cassian's evasiveness turned to anger when Jyn compared him to a stormtrooper. In return, he questioned her commitment to the war he'd been fighting for decades. His childhood trauma and no-win choices were unknown to her. From his perspective, Jyn was selfish and petulant. He risked his life to save her, yet she attacked him afterward. Carefully watch Diego Luna's face during the argument, and you'll see an excellent actor at the top of his game. From flushed cheeks to flying spittle, he convinced me of Cassian's indignation.
I had orders. Orders that I disobeyed. But you wouldn't understand that.
Orders? When you know they're wrong? You might as well be a stormtrooper.
I've heard people fault Felicity Jones for her portrayal of Jyn Erso. This scene and several others refute such criticism. Her blaster or no blaster argument with K2, reunion with Saw Gerrera, and meeting with Orson Krennic are among the best. All memorable. In the shuttle, her sadness and anger fueled her relentless accusations. When Andor snapped back, she stood her ground. In the pair, I observed determination, which would lead to mutual respect.
What do you know? We don't all have the luxury of deciding when and where we want to care about something. Suddenly the rebellion is real for you. Some of us live it. I've been in this fight since I was 6 years old. You're not the only one who lost everything. Some of us just decided to do something about it.
Grief was the core of this scene. Two characters minutes removed from a harrowing escape took opposite paths to cope with their losses. Cassian wanted to be left alone. Jyn wanted a confrontation. Their reactions were believable and relatable. Good writing. They had feigned indifference until their composure cracked under the weight of their sorrow.
You can't talk your way around this.
I don't have to.
Your investment in the rebellion is epic. A double life, every day a performance, the stress of that. We need heroes, Lonnie, and here you are.
Luthen Rael was a mysterious rebel leader. The audience knew little about his mindset until he unleashed a Jeremiad for his ISB mole, Lieutenant Supervisor Lonnie Young. Young had served the rebellion for many years, but the birth of his first child caused a strong desire to end his spying for fear of discovery. At a clandestine meeting with Rael, a skittish Young declared his own quittance.
And what do you sacrifice?
Calm. Love. I've given up all chance at inner peace. I made my mind a sunless space.
Initially, Rael tried to be pleasant and ease Young's nerves. He listened to the latest intelligence from ISB headquarters, then lied about his orchestration of every seditious act. If one hadn't watched the first 9 episodes, one would have been completely misled by Rael's denials and deflections. But his refusal to save a rebel cell from imminent destruction exposed his true nature. He justified the decision as preservation of Young's cover.
I share my dreams with ghosts. I wake up every day to an equation I wrote 15 years ago from which there's only one conclusion. I'm damned for what I do.
Have you noticed a theme? Tony Gilroy wrote my favorite Star Wars scenes of the Disney era. I like his style. He has delivered great moments, like the upcoming monologue from Stellan Skarsgård. Rael laid out the facts. Young was trapped. He could neither resign nor refuse.
My anger, my ego, my unwillingness to yield, my eagerness to fight, that set me on a path from which there's no escape. I yearned to be a savior against injustice without contemplating the cost, and by the time I looked down, there's no longer any ground beneath my feet. What is my sacrifice?
Young's question about sacrifice ended Rael's attempts at mollification. His facade dropped and a bitter, ruthless freedom fighter emerged. The older man reflected on his life and wondered aloud, was it all worth it?
I burned my decency for someone else's future. I burned my life to make a sunrise that I know I'll never see. Now, the ego that started this fight will never have a mirror or an audience or the light of gratitude.
Rael's dose of reality dashed Young's hope. The spy wouldn't be going anywhere. He was too important to the cause. The power of Rael's monologue is a tribute to Gilroy's writing and Skarsgård's acting, beautifully crafted and dramatized. For my money, the Disney era of Star Wars has no better sequence than this one.
So what do I sacrifice? Everything!
Thank you for watching my analysis and clips of my favorite Disney Star Wars scenes. I didn't have a multitude for consideration, but I wanted to show that I can both praise and criticize with just cause. My choices clearly weren't based on visual effects, or action, or popularity. I enjoy instances when writing, directing, and acting blend flawlessly to command my attention. Instances when productions treat subject matter with intelligence and maturity for the benefit of all ages. When I experience the galaxy far, far away as if I'm there. When characters cease to be characters and become flesh and blood. When even the mundane is entertaining. As I reflect on all three, I notice my favorite scenes deal with duplicity and sacrifice, rare attributes in the Disney era. Please leave a comment with your thoughts, like the video, and subscribe to my channel. May the Force be with you, always.
Galactic Initiative is not authorized or endorsed by Lucasfilm Limited. The name Star Wars and all related materials are registered trademarks of Lucasfilm Limited, a subsidiary of the Walt Disney Company, but rights reserved. Galactic Initiative is a registered trademark, and other product and company names are trademarks of their respective holders. Use does not imply affiliation or endorsement.